What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols Pregame'n Edition. This is where we spend a few minutes chatting with the team prior to the next match. Joining me for this one is someone who not only puts the grit in Gritsburg, but he was also the first to let the world know just how awesome our kits would be this season, and whose favorite dumpling place is now my favorite dumpling place. It's Luke Biasi. How you doing, man?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Sure. I got to tell you, this was probably a few chats ago, but I asked you favorite spot in Pittsburgh, and I think you said it was Everyday Noodle. And I went
I
there for the
did.
first time this weekend, and it was amazing.
You loved it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually Nathan Dos Santos, he showed me that place and he's got a little bit of Chinese in his blood, so
Yeah.
he's gonna know the good Chinese spots, the good dumpling places, and we went there and I was like, this is the best one I've ever had.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
incredible. All right, let's get into it. So you and I chatted earlier this preseason while things were still taking shape. Based on what you saw this preseason, are you at all surprised to only be sitting on 1 point after 2 games?
Yeah, definitely surprised, definitely disappointed. I think with the way preseason was going and just with games, getting people up to speed, cohesion, I thought we were looking really good. I think that in North Carolina, I think we deserved 3 points. I think we played very well. I think we lacked some final execution in the final third. Obviously, their goal was from our mistake, and our goal was from their mistake. So it was kind of a game like that. But I think we dominated possession. We're in their half. I think we just lacked with the final ball, the final little movement there. And then San Antonio, I don't think we deserved that one. I think if we got out of there with a tie, it would have been, you know, just wow, we survived with a tie. I don't know. We weren't ready. We weren't all up the same page. We weren't working together. We weren't making the right decisions. I think there's times when we could have kicked it long. We were under pressure and find a ball and behind and turn them. We should have done that. And then there's time where we could easily swing it around, and we didn't do that. So I think a win in the first game would have been nice, and I think the result speaks for itself in our second game, and we know we got to build off that and get better. So, but I am surprised to only be at 1 point. Yeah, I don't like it.
Let's talk about San Antonio just for a second. So I'm curious because obviously you guys came out, it felt like sort of a flat 5-4-1 in the first half and then made some changes at halftime to go to that 4-2-3-1. How much of sort of the struggles do you chalk up to just sort of you guys being off your game versus trying to play a different system? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Um, Surprisingly enough, we actually played the same formation the whole game as the first
Okay.
game. So it was just a 4-2-3-1. Just the only difference from the first game is I was out on the left,
Hmm.
and typically we skew the left side upwards. So the left back, which is typically Junior, is playing high in a role like that where he can get around the edge and attack more. And in this game, I played there, and then Alal was the right back who typically tucks in more.
Hmm.
Um, I think as a team, we got to be capable of doing both. I think both formations we can get done. It'll be based off situations and how other teams are going to play. Um, but I also don't think that was what went wrong. I don't think it was personnel. I think it was more of an effort and a cohesion thing that, which is good though, because that's easily fixable.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot here. So we've started doing player ratings after each game. And for the past 2 weeks, you've been a 6 out of 10 both times. Now, this past week, I think the comment that we made was something on the lines of like, we're kind of comparing you to your baseline. And at a certain point, you set your baseline like really high. So we started a debate, is a 6 really fair? Because you bring it like every game, the energy, the tenacity, all of that. I'm just so we're second guessing our 6. My question for you is if you had to rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 for the first 2 games, what number do you think you would give yourself?
Yeah, I think a 6 is a little bit harsh. What are some of the other guys getting? Like, what's the best score we gave out? I know we didn't win, and winning probably skews them a little higher. But
Yeah.
like, what's the best score that was given out in the first two games?
I think the highest we gave out might have been Augie in the first game, and I think that was an 8.
Okay, and an 8 with a goal, and
Yeah.
a draw. Okay,
Yeah.
so then I can see a 6 being a little harsh, but a little reasonable. I mean, if I had to pick a score out of 10, I'd probably give myself like a Yeah, like a 6.8, 6.9, just the higher end of the six. I think in the first two games, I played well. Um, I think a lot of times what you guys see is going to depend on the tactics for the game.
Yeah.
So, like last game, I was supposed to be going way more forward and attacking, getting around the edge, and I think we just didn't mesh well as a team, and we didn't get as many chances as we needed to. And then in some games, there will be times where I'm just tucking in and trying to build out or find balls into the middle. And there's some games where it's a really big defensive responsibility. So that's when, sometimes the crowd loves when you're doing crunching tackles and just really bringing the energy and asserting yourself. So yeah, not too harsh of a score, especially without a win. But yeah, I'd probably give myself a upper sixes because I think I did well in distribution. I think I did well pressing sides. I feel like my side tended to get attacked less. But yeah, we got to be better overall.
Yeah. I think it's all fair. I'm down with that. Be honest. Against San Antonio, there was a moment you kind of had your hand out, poked the guy in the face. Did you know the guy was there?
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was there. That's why the arm's out, but I'm backpedaling this way, and
Uh-huh.
then my arm just caught him in the eye, and he was down. So yeah, it was definitely an accident. Definitely did not mean to do that. I
Okay.
tried to apologize after, and their number 10 was like, "Get out of here! You meant to do that to him." And I was like, "I didn't. You can watch." Well, I was like, "Watch the tape right there." I
Yeah.
clearly didn't mean to. I'm looking the other way. He's like, "You watch the tape. You see what happens to you later in the game." I was like, "Oh my gosh, what do we get into here?" I was like, "All right, we'll see what happens." And then of course he scores. I was like,
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah. Let's look ahead to this weekend. Hartford are coming to town. It's the home opener. What are you most looking forward to for this one?
I love seeing familiar faces, so I love that we're gonna see Joe Farrell. I love that he's in the back, so we can score goals on him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do like playing Hartford just because I feel like it's that Eastern Conference, Northeast grit and grind rivalry that we got going on here. So, like to assert our dominance. And then I think the thing I'm most excited about for this first game is or for Hartford is that it's the first home game. So just
Yep.
home opener, it's electric. We can't wait. Super excited to be back at Highmark. But yeah, I'm excited.
Anything in particular that you're thinking you guys might see from Hartford?
Yeah, I think Hartford for the past couple years has had a pretty consistent play style. They have very pacey wingers. They have a big target nine, um, and good midfielders and center backs on the ball. So we definitely got to be ready for balls in the behind. Can't get beat off 1-2s if a center back or an outside back plays a big ball into the big forward. We got to be ready for the flick on into the
Mm-hmm.
wide area. So I think really just being alert and aware the whole game is gonna be very important, and then taking care of the ball because usually the big guys and the pacey wingers they don't like to defend. So if you get them running, you get them moving, then we can establish a little bit of a rhythm.
Yeah. You guys have had a full week of practice. How's everyone feeling? You ready to go?
Yeah, cannot wait. Home opener, everyone's buzzing. Good week of practice. I think we figured some things out. It wasn't the easiest week. Travel days, a
Mm-hmm.
loss, just trying to get up to speed again. It can be a little bit demoralizing, a little bit exhausting, but that's what you got to do. It's a long season. There's a lot of ups and downs. I think it's super important not to dwell when you're too high or dwell when you're too low. So I think we're right where we need to be and ready to go.
Awesome. Luke, I always appreciate the time. I am sure everyone is looking forward to seeing you at Highmark. Best of luck with securing 3 points this weekend, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys there. Can't wait.